Hello and welcome everybody to the Twins Off Daily podcast, brought to you by the fine folks at twinsdaily.com. How the heck are you, Twins territory? Boy, it's been what, 4 straight weeks or so, guys? 3 straight weeks of our daily episodes that we've been doing of this off daily podcast since we've had so many off days since the end of the Twins season. As you know, we are collecting these for the lost tapes that you can gain access to by subscribing to our Patreon. But I have two of Twins Daily's finest gathered with me here today to talk about some of the off-season topics that we are ready to jump into. Let's start with you, Cody Schoenman. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Yeah, it's exciting. This is our 22nd consecutive episode.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I'm getting tired too. I mean, I know it was controversial at the beginning, but I think it was a good idea for us to post our episodes only on MySpace and Rhapsody. I think that was very smart. We're getting a lot of listens, especially on MySpace.
We've got to expand into Napster.
Yes. Yeah, musically, like Vine, like we're doing really well. We're
killing it. Especially Vine in Turkey. We are like we're in the top 10 firmly. Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. Gregory Masterson, our other panelist here. What's going on, man?
Is the off season over yet?
It's got to be close.
I miss Twins baseball. Said nobody. I'm so happy to not have to watch Twins baseball right now, guys. I'm so happy the off season is here. Now I can speculate about who the Twins are going to sign for $2 million on February 27th after everybody else has been taken and we're halfway through spring training. I can't wait.
Someone's got to do it. You know what? That's what we're here to do, man. And it's honest work. You know, it ain't much, but it's a living, right, guys?
I've never done anything honest.
I believe that. I would absolutely believe that. Well, we are very happy to be back with you, our dear listeners. We missed you since our last, we'll call it free show. We're going to just talk about some of the off-season topics here. But before we do, let's go into our walk-off question for today's episode that we are going to try to answer before we say goodbye later on. And today's question is in honor of Backyard Baseball returning to play. For those that don't know, Backyard Baseball was a super fun video game series. There's at least a few of them back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where kids would, you know, as it sounds in the name, you'd play baseball in the backyard. And in their second edition, they actually added MLB stars. Usually, I think they were mostly current MLB stars at the time as kids. So you could select these players. They had, like, you know, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez. Help me out, guys. Any other ones that
Marty Cordova
for the Twins.
Alex Gonzalez. Yes. Legends.
Absolute legends. So anyway, these kid versions of MLB stars would play alongside the characters in the game. It was a pretty fun addition, I gotta say. I think that was really fun, and I absolutely loved that game. And now it's back, and it's available for purchase on Steam, I believe.
No free ads.
No free ads. Sorry. Today's walk-off question is: which current twin do you think would be a good fit for the game, the kid version of them? And you know, how would they be portrayed, I guess? What would you expect to see from some kid versions of, I don't know, Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, Pablo Lopez, any of them? So we're going to talk about who we would love to see there, but we will get to that by the end of the episode. But for right now, we're just going to jump right on into a beginning topic that we've been talking about here, which is: what are the Twins off-season needs? As we're just about getting to the MLB's official off-season. We're recording this before the start of the Dodgers and Yankees World Series that everybody has absolutely been rooting for. Yeah. So what do we think? What are some kind of big holes that need to be filled on this current Twins roster? I think we're going to see an awful lot of shuffling personally, but let's start with you, Greg. What do you think?
I mean, they need somebody to take all of those plate appearances from Manuel Margot off the bench. But in actuality, they probably do need another, I'm not super excited about Willie Castro as a center fielder. Defensively. I don't know how many people are very excited about Austin Martin right now as a defensive center fielder. I know that there's been a whole lot of hula bula about our friend Deshaun Kiersey as a potential backup center. They need somebody who can play center field at least a little bit. And, they've had, 2 years ago, it was Michael A. Taylor. Last year, I think hypothetically it was supposed to be Manuel Margot until he showed up to spring training, and within 5 minutes they said, never mind. I guess it's Willie Castro again. It would be very nice for them to have somebody who can play like a reliable center field beyond what Willie Castro is able to give you, and can hopefully hit a little bit better than Kiersey might end up. I don't exactly know how they go about getting that. Here's a fun fact. They have never, ever signed a single player to be Byron Buxton's backup. Nobody has ever signed up for that willingly. It might be the greatest backup job in the world because you're guaranteed to get a lot of time, but nobody has ever taken that job willingly. They have traded for Byron Buxton's backup, or it's been a prospect, which is, I think, a little bit strange. And so that leads me to believe, if patterns hold up, that they might trade for somebody again. But I think that is one of the bigger needs that they're going to have to fill.
Do you think that Emmanuel Rodriguez's emergence possibly, at some point in the next season is going to affect kind of the caliber of player that they go out and get to play that role? I know that he's probably destined for a corner spot more likely in his future, but I think he's still getting a decent amount of play in center field. At least he did this year, didn't he, when he was healthy? I guess I'm not sure, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, any 23-year-old can play center field, at least for a little bit. I've mentioned before that it's like one of my favorite archetypes is like Butcher in left field, who was athletic enough at 22 to play a little bit of center, but by the time he was like 26, you couldn't, like Delman Young, for example, played center field when he was a rookie at like 2021. And then by the time he was a Twin and he was 27, you closed your eyes every time a ball went into left field. I mean, Manuel Margot, I guess, to some extent the same, but like, I'm talking like dudes who like immediately it was like, okay, as soon as you're not a child anymore, you can't do this. So I do, I don't think that relying on Emmanuel Rodriguez as like your first option in that case is going to be the answer. Just because he's, not that I think he's going to get injured again. However, we have seen so little of Emmanuel Rodriguez that I feel good about him. I would hate for that to be like your plan A if Byron Buxton needs like a long-term fill in or whatever.
Sure. And I don't think it necessarily needs to be, but just thinking that he's likely going to be MLB ready. Hopefully, you got to think. I guess it's no certainty, but as his current trajectory looks, I mean, he was pretty stellar when he was healthy this year at AA, but obviously probably still starts the year at, I'm guessing, AAA to start the year, but who knows? I was just saying that maybe you only look for somebody, even less of a stopgap than a 1 year, backup rental player. Anyway, Cody, what do you think? Any other kind of needs come to mind besides the ones that Gregg kind of laid out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to not forget about Austin Martin in the mix too. I mean, he's going to probably play a role in center field. I mean, going into it right now, it'll be a mixture of Castro and Martin. So, but yeah, to move on from that, I think obviously first base too. Carlos Santana, we don't know if he's going to leave or not. I mean, welcoming him back at 39, I don't know if that's very ideal. If you look at the free agent options, I mean, there's Ryan O'Hearn, who's kind of intriguing, but then there's kind of also guys on the wrong side of 30. There's Justin Turner. Wilmer Flores might be kind of interesting, but you don't want to play him every day at first base. On the roster right now, I mean, you have Kirilloff, you have Miranda, you have Julian. I mean, none of those names inspire me at first base either, so that's looking pretty bleak right now. But yeah, I mean, I could see Santana coming back, but I don't know if I want that. Otherwise, I mean, veterans on the back end of the rotation. I mean, right now you've got Lopez, Ryan, Ober, probably Woods Richardson. I don't know. I mean, ideally you'd have Zebby start off in AAA. You've had Festa maybe start off in AAA too. But I mean, knowing where they're going, knowing where payroll will be this year, I could see Zebby or Festa easily taking one of the spots. I mean, you could re-sign DeSclafani. We want to see how he looks in the Twins uniform for sure.
Who?
Yeah, who even is that?
Doesn't ring a bell.
No. Relievers. I mean, there's always a high leverage right-handed arm. Just like the manic pixie reliever, the one that everybody's chasing. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Gregg brought him up jokingly, but Manuel Margot, that is like an actual hole that I think needs to be replaced. Max Kepler, that's going to be replaced by Larnach and Wallner. Those are kind of the fix for that. So that's kind of an answer. I mean, Emma or Emmanuel Rodriguez will be up eventually, but I think right now, if I had to put it in order, definitely first base, I believe, is number one. Second base, some veteran pitching depth, whether it be starting or relieving. And then third is probably a right-handed bat in the outfield who can play center field. I mean, and you look at it, it's guys like Taylor, Harrison Bader. I think Kevin Pillar is retiring. Guys like that. It's pretty thin for options.
Yeah, I think when I kind of broached this question, the first answer that came to my mind was some, a veteran pitcher at the back end of the rotation on like, 1
They've
year,
already got
maybe
one of
2 year
those,
deal. I know. And I was saying, okay, yes, they have Chris Paddock. I want Chris Paddock, but I want something with just a little more certainty, maybe a little more upside.
Yes, a DeSclafani.
Yes. Who?
I forgot about Paddock. I completely forgot about Paddock. And that's probably a contract you want to move off of, though, because it's $7.5 million. So ideally, you'd move off of that, and then you'd rather have Festa or Zebby take that spot.
Right, but if for $7.5 million, if you're still in the market for a veteran back end starter, who are you going to get for less than that $7.5 million? Who has a higher upside than Chris Paddock? If you want to make the claim that there is the what is the guy? I can't think of the meme, but like the 220 pound or inning rubber arm guy who gets
Jordan Lyles,
like Jordan Lyles type. If you're just like, I need somebody to go pitch 220 innings at a 5 ERA just to keep the line moving. Sure, I guess you could make like an even switch, but for Paddock's money, who are you going to get that's better than Paddock?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right now. There's like Spencer Turnbull, Michael Lorenzen, Alex Cobb, guys like that.
Here's another thing, though. That's all in free agency. We have seen this front office go out and get guys that are a year or two away from their first big payday of free agency, and then either rolling the dice with them for a couple years or working that into a longer extension. I'm curious if maybe there's another move like that, in which case you're probably talking about some big pieces leaving. Depends, I guess. But I think trade could be an interesting option too. But I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But I don't know, with rotation stuff. We're always looking for those like 1 year guys trying to do a little pillow contract or a little something to jump into the next off season with a better season under their belt, kind of like Carlos Rodon did a couple years ago. Is there anybody like that? Walker Buehler, maybe? I don't know if he's probably going to be priced out of a 1 year deal, at least at a reasonable rate. You got to think. I think there's a few others. Anyway. Any other targets? Any other kind of outside the box things that maybe they should look into possibly exploring?
I mean, you're gonna have to replace Kyle Farmer technically. Probably more so like in the aggregate within like Brooks Lee. Martin could take on more of a role like that. I mean, at second and. I mean, hypothetically, or theoretically, but I mean, Kyle Farm needs to be replaced too, but I think that they already have the guys on the 40 man and Michael Hellman's available too. I think you have people that you're comfortable taking that spot for less money.
Maybe it could be. I guess it's just so tricky because a big crux of this season and the free fall of the last 6 to 7 weeks was the young class of players that just like could not step up and like step into that kind of star caliber role to turn things around when Carlos and Byron were not on the field. I'd be maybe hesitant to go with that as a game plan heading into the season next year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but just like, what did Farmer do the whole season?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So like you swap out nothing with nothing, and I don't think Hellman's an MLB player. Like I'm on the same page as you. But it's like it'd be nice to get something like maybe
Sure.
even like a 1 to 2 WAR guy as compared to Farmer hitting 180 for the whole year, basically.
Or even there's just like a handful of guys like Hellman who are like, okay, we've seen them be pretty good at AAA, but we're not sure about if they could carry that over to the big leagues. But there's like, 5 or 6 of these guys, it feels like, in the system. It'd be nice if just like one of them could emerge as like, oh, he's kind of graduated from that. Yeah, he could be a contributor. We just need like one of them to break through.
Yeah, that's sort of like what the Twins did kind of almost at the major league level in 2023, where they had all of these like corner outfielders. They had all of these, like, they had basically like 15-ish players that where it's like, I think that one of like these guys could end up being like, they had like Joey Gallo and Max Kepler and Matt Wallner and Trevor Larnach, for example. And then they just like let the year play out and said eventually 2 of these guys are going to be our corner outfielders. And that's how it worked out. So I think that there is something to be said for like having 5 guys at AAA right now who, one of these guys could be a utility infielder for us or like some sort of bench role player. Let's just give it some time instead of throwing like a few $1 million. And I shouldn't even be saying like a few $1 million. Oh no, but throw a few $1 million at this, this career backup infielder who, maybe is going to produce like 1 win above replacement. As opposed to just saying we've got 5 guys at AAA. One of them is going to be fine if we need to cycle through them. And I know that doesn't sound like a great plan, but if you're talking about trying to smartly use whatever money you have for next year's team, I think that there's validity to that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, if you look at it over the past 3 years, 2022, 23, and 24, and 23 is the only year they make the playoffs. And that's the year when they have vets who are assigned to, deals and they're able to contribute. Where in 2022, you had to rely on guys like Mark Contreras or, I don't want to slander Nick Gordon, but, guys like who shouldn't be on MLB rosters. And then this year you have Hellman, you have Kiersey, like those guys, it's like a significant drop off from even somebody like Gallo or Farmer or, fill-in person here who actually did produce, like you're right to make that face, Lou, because like Joey Gallo like is like, a meme for the most part in Twins fandom, but like he also had like a 1.5 WAR season that year. I mean, that's
he carried them through April.
Yeah, like that's a lot compared to a guy like I said earlier, like Contreras or Ian Miller, guys like that.
It's just my face, bro. All right. That's just how I look. I'm sorry. I'm happy to talk about baseball with my buddies. Okay.
It's Joey Gallo.
But hey, you know what? Twins could use a left-handed, heavy slugging first baseman who is pretty
Miguel Sano. No, wait, no, he's right-handed.
Should the Twins
sign Kenny Vargas?
Somebody who's close to Jace Tingler. I don't know who that would be.
Ooh.
I do want to say, I think that it's possible that the Twins are in the catcher market this offseason.
Really?
I do think that either Christian Vasquez or Ryan Jeffers are on their way out. It does not make a ton of sense to have a $15 million catcher room that produces like those 2 did over the last year. And so you might, try to get something for Jeffers, or you just try to get salary relief for Vasquez, whatever. But I just reading through the tea leaves and just watching from home, what's his name? Jair Camargo was up for like 25 days this year, and he never started a game at catcher. I believe that he caught a total of 1 inning over 2 appearances. They were very, very hesitant to have him catch at all, even though the Twins have like all year, they did the on-off method. But like while Vasquez was out on paternity leave, they were just like, we'll start Jeffers every day. Yeah. Now, part of that might be you don't want a rookie catcher trying to catch big leaguers in the heart of a pennant race, whatever. But like, I don't know like how confident they are in him as a catcher.
Well, I
And
think some of it goes to the earlier point too with Kiersey and Hellman. And like I hate to be rude, but like maybe they just know that like Camargo is not an MLB caliber player and you would ideally not play him at any point. Like it's nice to have 40-man depth, but like what's the difference between, Jair Camargo compared to guys like Noah Cardenas or Patrick Winkle? I think those are all like interchangeable guys. It's just Camargo got the 40-man spot right now, but I mean, it's just I think it might be as simple as like the front office knows that those are not MLB caliber guys, and they're going to do whatever they can to not play them.
Yeah, very well might
so
be.
yeah, like I was just gonna say, if they do move one of those guys and they don't feel good about Camargo being your primary backup, we could see somebody like, it's a fan's dream to get Austin Hedges for $2 million as a free agent, or like even like an Omar Narvaez, if you feel like you have something there and you can spot him like exclusively against righties or whatever. I could see something like that happen.
Could bring back Willians Astudillo. Yeah. I don't know. He's still scooting around out there somewhere, I gotta think. All right, last thing before we move on from this beginning topic, I want us to get into some kind of some spicy predictions maybe. So we're gonna play a little round of I wouldn't be surprised if, and you need to finish that statement with your bold prediction. So I'll start here. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear both Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee's names in trade speculation through the winter, even from some top national sources, I should say. Let's go. Let's see. Anybody want to jump first? Cody, you got any bold prediction that you wouldn't be surprised about?
I guess this is pretty low key, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Twins sign a reliever who used to be a prominent name.
Oh, okay.
So maybe somebody like Paul Sewald. There's guys out there too, like let me see another one. Shelby Miller, maybe guys like somebody who used to be like a big time name,
okay,
who is still a good reliever, but has kind of fallen out from like the spotlight.
It doesn't sound like them. It doesn't sound like anything they've tried to do in the past ever. I don't know.
Yeah,
weird.
No,
the Twins would never, ever try to sign somebody a few years after they were a big name.
Are you wearing your Ruben Sierra jersey?
Maybe.
I'm wearing my Giovanni Gallegos St. Paul Saints jersey right now.
This is a very quick tangent, but I ordered a bobblehead off eBay, and it's a trio bobblehead of Sammy Sosa, Juan Gonzalez, and Ruben Sierra from the Tulsa Drillers. It was like their class of the 80s giveaway. I opened it tonight, and the Juan Gonzalez bobblehead had come detached from the base. And so as I picked it up, Juan Gon fell off of the base, fell onto the floor, and broke in two pieces. And now I'm working to try and get it reimbursed on eBay, because it wouldn't have done that if the bottom hadn't already broke.
Sure.
Anyway.
Who's parting ways with that gold mine, a precious family heirloom?
It's actually awesome, man. Like I paid $60 for it. Like I've had my eye on it for like over a year, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it.
Dang.
But okay, I've got two. Two. I wouldn't be surprised if Edouard Julien is traded. I think that the Twins would have preferred that he have a little bit more of a showing down the stretch. But I would not be surprised if he gets moved somehow, some way. I think that he might be a prospect, or not a prospect, but a player that like a couple teams are very high on. They see that and the power potential, and they say, you know what, we can work with this. Maybe we'll swap our project for your project. I could see that happening. I could also see, and I wouldn't go so far as to say sign, but I could see a report coming out this winter that the Twins are kicking the tires on Jorge Polanco.
Yes.
As either a second baseman or an old Gregg theory, a first baseman. I still think that Jorge Polanco could be a good first baseman, like a solid-ish defender who pops some homers, gets on base, good clubhouse guy, those things. Switch hitter, Carlos Santana with a little bit less of a defensive ability.
He has a club option. I don't know if they will take it. I mean, Jerry's
14 million this year.
No chance.
12.
I mean, Depoto is very unpredictable, but I don't even think he would do that. Like, and given they also have money restraints too, so I bet he's a free agent.
Yeah. Anyway, well, those are pretty spicy. Did you get through both of them there? I missed it.
Yes.
Yeah, Polanco and.
Can't believe you weren't listening, Julian.
Yeah, I never do. I just wait for my turn to talk. Actually, those are good. I how about this? Trade Julian to the Seattle Mariners for Jorge Polanco, pick up the option, and I don't know, throw in Logan Gilbert or Luis Castillo or something. I don't care. Any one of their 5 aces. I mean,
yeah, it's you got to do what you got to do to make the money balance.
Pick up the phone, Derek. That's what people are saying.
I have a good one too. Here, Greg, I'm going to set you up. Pablo Lopez. What should the Twins do with him this offseason? What do you think?
I mean, I think that they should keep him, obviously. But the 21 million means something. But also, like, I hate to say, what are you going to do with 21 million if you're trying to replace a legit front of the rotation starting pitcher? You're not going to have that guy anymore. And what do you do with the other money? You look around the roster, and it's not like they have like some glaring need for like a $20 million guy at any one position. It would end up getting split up probably between a Michael Lorenzen and a middle reliever and a first baseman who's making $8 million. I don't see it, but at the same time, I don't know. It's really, if you're trying to get out from a set of Buxton, Correa, and Lopez are making 56% of the Twins payroll for next year. And if you're trying to get out from that, it is Pablo Lopez that moves.
Mm-hmm. I meant that very unseriously. I don't think it's actually good.
Oh, damn it.
Well, speaking of unserious...
Should the Twins trade Pablo Lopez?
Thank you.
Sorry. My bad. I didn't pick up the bit.
No, I mean, no. There's merit to discussion.
Speaking of unserious, we are going to keep moving along here to our next segment, which is the return of Gregory's Gripes. You all know the drill. Gregg always has something on his mind, something grinding his gears. This is his chance to let it all out on all of us. Gregg, what do you got for us, brother?
Okay, so I went into tonight thinking that I was going to complain about people who are speculating about ownership. So I'm going to do that really quick, but I came up with a second gripe while we were going, and I need to get this off my chest. So my first one, just for the sake of clarity, I'm sick of people speculating on the ownership, like throwing out names. Who might buy that? Like, I'm of the opinion that you should never listen to any news until it's actually happening, because it's so much speculation in sports. It's impossible to actually get a clear answer. I don't care about when people are injured or what their return timetable. Tell me when they're back. Same thing with the ownership. I'm not convinced that they're actually going to sell. I'm not convinced of anything. I'll believe it when I see it, and I don't care about your speculation. Just tell me who the new owners are, and once salary figures come out, then tell me that. It doesn't matter anyway for like at least the next season. There's no way that they sell it before opening day. And even if they do sell it before opening day, it's not going to make a difference on the payroll. Anyway, my real gripe, as if I wasn't fired up enough about that, it is awesome that two of the most storied franchises in MLB history are facing off against each other in the World Series. I do not care for your complaints like, oh, they're so highly paid. How come you... Okay, it's the Yankees and the Dodgers. My goodness, why are we complaining about a Yankees-Dodgers matchup? This is like baseball has been Yankees-Dodgers, Yankees-Giants, Giants-Dodgers. Like, that is baseball. It's been like that for what? I don't know. Like, when were the New York Highlanders started? Like 1882? Like, this is baseball. It's beautiful. It is awesome that these storied franchises are going against each other for the first time in 43 years. And guess what? I don't like Sure, it was fun. It was fun when the Rangers took on the Diamondbacks and they had all these slapdick guys running around like, oh, golly gee, this is a hootenanny. Dude, you get to watch like 8 Hall of Famers go against each other in the World Series. These are the best of the best. I do not care about how overpaid they are or how the small market teams don't get a seat at the table. I don't care. It's good baseball. Watch it. Enjoy it. We don't know that we're going to get it has all the makings of a very good series. It should be enjoyable. Who cares if the Tampa Bay Rays aren't there? I just want to watch good baseball. Shut up. Stop complaining. Gripe over.
Like, what's the downside? Like, it's gonna shame other owners into spending more. Like, is that a bad thing? That's what you've been begging for. You've been begging for owners to go out and spend a lot of money, and now that they're doing it, we don't like the product when they come to this pretty monumental World Series. I agree with you, Greg. This is you're getting me fired up too, brother.
The complaint that cracks me up is like, this is going to be the lowest rated World Series in history. It's like, you really think that like the Seattle Mariners taking on the Washington Nationals would be a more viewed series? You think the Milwaukee Brewers versus the St. Louis Cardinals? Back in my day, Milwaukee was an AL team, but the Milwaukee Brewers taking on, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Pirates are also a national.
The Minnesota Twins.
But like the Brewers versus the Blue Jays, like I get like, okay, maybe there is the Canada thing, but like there's no way that there are fewer people tuning in for the biggest 2 teams in baseball than any random assortment of other teams. Yeah. Stop doing this.
Also, I will say I do have one slight disappointment. I would have been really excited for a Mets versus Yankees World Series.
Yes.
That would have been sweet. I was so excited for the prospect of that. Plus, I love this year's Mets team. But that's like my one little gripe. But yeah, I'm very excited about Dodgers v Yankees too. That's going to be awesome.
Good gripe, man. That was a good one. I'm glad that one got its way to our show here today. Well, while that's out of the way here, let's move on to our last segment of the day. We got the closer. Okay, so the closer is our weekly game that we like to end the show with. We have a kind of a rotation of games that we go through. Today, we have an edition of Blind Lineup. And how that works is we're going to alternate, or Greg and Cody will alternate. I'm going to name a current or former twin one by one, and they have to put them in the lineup somewhere and someplace in the field as well. And we're going to try to field a team of 9 players here and build a lineup as well. So we have it pulled up on our video stream here, but we'll try to make it as clear as possible for just our listening audience as well. Greg, let's start with you. Your first twin that you have to punch in somewhere is Lou Ford.
Lou Ford. Ooh, designated hitter extraordinaire. But I'm gonna save the DH spot. He played a little bit of center. You know, I'm gonna put him 6th. I'm gonna put him 6th and play center field.
Love it. That's great. Cody, your player is Paul Molitor.
I will do lead off.
Okay.
And I will put him at second base.
Good bet. Hall of Famer, one of the best second basemen.
He's also the manager too.
Yeah, Lou Ford is also a manager right now of the Long Island Ducks. Greg, your next player is Josh Willingham, the Hammer.
Josh Willingham. Ooh, left field or DH? Let's throw him in left field.
And in the 5 hole there?
Yeah, and in the 5 hole.
That's probably where he got the most of his at-bats, I got to think. Cody, you have current, for the time being, twin, Royce Lewis.
Not for long!
Oh, no.
I have anything to say about it.
So, I guess I will hit him. This is a little bit tough. Okay, let's put him. I will. Oh, my gosh, I'm having conflict right here.
Remember, he doesn't slump. He doesn't do that slump thing.
He does not do the slump thing. Okay, I will put him cleanup.
Okay.
And let's have him. Oh, I already used second base. That would have been funny. Okay, I will put
also center field is taken.
Shortstop.
Too bad.
No, I'll put him at third. I'll keep it easy.
Okay, he's at third.
Yeah,
and
don't
he's
want to
batting
upset
cleanup.
him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next player up here, Danny Santana.
Danny Santana. Ooh, okay. So he was bad everywhere, but played everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He can play first base, but I don't want to waste first base on him. We'll put Danny Santana hitting 8th and playing right field.
Next player up, Carlos Santana.
Okay, he will be hitting 7th and playing first base.
Catch him.
Oh yeah. Back in his Cleveland days.
This is going to be a wrinkle. We go from Danny Santana to Carlos Santana to Johan Santana. You have to play him in the field and bat him somewhere.
Okay, so what we've got shortstop, we've got catcher, and we've got DH. I think we're DHing Johan.
Yeah.
In the 9 hole.
and batting him in the 9 hole.
You know, desperate times. This must be like late in the season and just no subs. Everybody's hurt. Late in the game or something. Anyway, so we go from those trio of Santana to Kirby Puckett. Sure.
Okay.
The greatest twin ever.
Put him in the 2 hole. And what are the positions left?
Catcher and shortstop. I do know he played second base.
Yeah, let's put Kirby at shortstop.
All right, put Kirby Puckett at shortstop. I could see him being randomly really good at that. Yeah. Honestly, just knowing him.
I'm saying he did play second base. Now I'm like curious if he did play shortstop at any point too.
And this is like 1984 Kirby. I think he'd be good.
Like no beard, like he's fresh shaven. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the last player, it is Joe Mauer.
Oh,
Oh wow.
That really landed.
Producer Lenny just told me Kirby Puckett did play shortstop one time in 1990 as a 30-year-old.
Awesome. Ooh. Awesome. I kind of want to go look up footage of that.
World Series.
Anyway, Joe Mauer going in the 3 spot and catching. So just to read off the lineup that these two came up with, we have Paul Molitor leading off and playing second base, Kirby Puckett at shortstop batting second, Joe Mauer at catcher batting third, Royce Lewis batting cleanup and playing third base, Josh Willingham in left field, Lou Ford in center field, Carlos Santana at first base, Danny Santana in right field, and Johan Santana as the designated hitter in the 9 hole. This is a really intriguing lineup, which for the first half is awesome. This is a really good lineup. Actually make that work. How many games do you think this lineup wins?
I mean, you've got 3 Hall of Famers, 4 once Royce Lewis, who never slumps and has never been a malcontent. Since he is the next Kirby Puckett. So you've got 4.
This team would edge out the Royals and the Tigers, and they would win 87 games. I forgot how many of those teams won.
With Johan Santana as the starter, designated hitter in the 9 hole.
Does Johan get to pitch on his scheduled day? Are we using the Ohtani rules where the DH gets to pitch?
I say yes.
This is basically just like former NL baseball versus modern day baseball. But we have Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I will not pass up the opportunity to remind everybody that Kenta Maeda appeared at designated hitter during the 2022 season for the Minnesota Twins. So Johan Santana at designated hitter, not that big of a stretch.
So what I'm hearing is Kenta Maeda as good or better than Johan Santana in their careers.
I would say as a pinch runner, yeah.
All that matters is that Royce Lewis would get traded.
Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm glad we got through that lineup here. As far as our next episode, of course, we're doing these every single off day. We're doing every day. But the next time you probably hear from us on the free show here, probably a couple weeks from now, we will probably have a World Series winner, and we can talk more about different developments. We'll probably be approaching the non-tender deadline. I got to think at that point. So that'll probably be a big topic of conversation for us.
Should the Twins tender Michael Tonkin?
Oh, People are asking. Cody, any last words for the listeners here?
Oh, just this is going to be a long off season of nothingness with the roster. So just be prepared, have fun with the Vikings if you are also other Minnesota team fan, and
Go Rams.
maybe the Wolves will be good. Rams Vikings this Thursday. Just going to be a lot of nothing, sadly, but that's okay. That's not. Yeah.
Thanks for firing us up with that, Cody. Gregg.
Lou, are we forgetting the walk-off question?
Oh, we are forgetting the walk-off question. So thank you very much for that. We are going to jump back into that. Which current Twin star do we think we'd like to see in the Backyard Baseball reboot? We would be seeing them as a kid version with some, caricature, different characteristics about them. I'm going to go with, I think it'd be funny to see Byron Buxton, but he's a kid with like a cast, like a big colorful cast that like the rest of the team has signed. He's just like always hurt or something like that, but he's still incredible when he takes the field. What do you think, Gregg? Anybody come to mind? You've recently been playing the reboot, haven't you?
I have, and I in typical Gregg fashion, I spent days building out a spreadsheet trying to figure out which players are best at which positions and which players would be easiest to walk with, and factoring in the value of an infield hit. But I gotta say, back in my day, backyard baseball was played by children in the backyard, not on the computer screen. Back in my day, when we drank out of the hose, we would, we'd slap each other with the hose, and then we'd go out and we'd play the baseball, and then we got asbestos.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know. I would love to see what they would do with like Carlos Correa, the the unflinching but like very big like smile. If you remember like what they did with like Ken Griffey Jr., like think about that smile, that kid, just with all of the warmth taken out of him. I would love to see how they made Carlos. Wait, did I say Carlos Santana?
No, you said Correa.
Oh, okay. I would love to see how they would model Carlos Correa as a child.
That'd be fun. Cody, anyone come to mind?
Yeah, I'm guessing you're both familiar with South Park, right?
Yeah.
And the characters Terrence and Philip.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? So like the French Canadians.
You'll have to take this. I actually have no frame of reference for South Park.
Okay, so in South Park, there's these French Canadian characters, and basically, like when they talk, like the top part of their head moves like up and down. Like,
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would basically be Edouard Julien, but he would be Terrence and Philip, and his head would like move when he talked, and he'd have a very high pitched voice.
I'm not your buddy, guy.
I'm not your buddy, pal.
Yeah.
That'd be him. Yeah. I'm not your pal, guy. And that'd be Edouard Julien.
Oh, I've heard that line. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be Edouard Julien. Yep.
That'd be fun.
Okay,
There's some other.
No, what were you going to say?
I was saying there's some other MLB stars that I thought would be kind of fun in this too. Like Fernando Tatis Jr. would be kind of fun, and like he rides his bike to the ballpark, but like there's a risk that he gets hurt on the way because he crashed his bicycle. Stuff like that. Gregg, sorry, what were you going to say, brother?
Oh, I was going to say like in those games there was always just like random guys from the really bad teams.
Yeah.
But it's like every team had to have a representative. So like I'm pulling it up, like Alex Gonzalez represented the Florida Marlins. Let's see. Marty Cordova was actually Marty Cordova, by the time Backyard Baseball came out, was no longer on the Twins. He also was no longer on whatever team he was on the following year. He was already on a third team. I'm trying to think of like I think Greg Vaughn was a player at one point. Like guys that like if you were around those days, you're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Like who would be the White Sox?
It'd be like Paul DeYoung or something.
Like Andrew Vaughn.
Brooks Baldwin because he looks like a child. It'd be Louis Robert. Sure.
Oh, probably.
Oh yeah, I thought that he for some reason I already had him in my mind have been traded.
Or
okay, so who would it be in like Miami?
Oh, that's a good one.
Jake
Miami,
Berger.
now. Yeah, maybe Jake Berger,
Or
maybe one of their
Sandy
pitchers.
Alcantara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's a tough one. Yeah.
I think that they're going to come out with like a modern day release at some point. So I'm excited to see who they end up picking to cement in the annals of history who like was the pinnacle of this organization at the time. And everybody says, who the heck is Marty Cordova?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who the heck is Brent Rooker?
Nice trade, Falvey.
Nice trade. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on another brilliant edition of the Twins Off Daily Podcast. We will see you when we see you. And as always, everybody, stay sweet.